What an intro that is.
That is an amazing intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lead Judges TV. I am your host, Dan Potts. I've got lead judges with me. Of course, I've got Super Kevin Campbell. How are you, Kev?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, Potsy. I am looking forward to this. It's been a while since we've all got together and had a good old natter about the Gunners in it. So I'm looking
Yeah, it's
forward
been,
to
man.
it.
Do you know why it's been a while? Because we've had a nice little break. We've been in Dubai. We've had a few weeks now, and I'm just looking forward to the action again, mate. So I just want football back because as much as I do moan about it at times when we lose, I do miss it, I must admit. Let's start with you, Kev. We do want to talk about a few things today. Before we do that, hello to everyone that's joined us live. Hello to everyone listening in the audio. Please, if you can, smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. That would be much appreciated. Kev, let's start with you. We're going to talk about a few things tonight, but of course, as the title suggests, we're going to start with Bukayo Saka. I heard you and Sophie talking on Hybrid Squad on your birthday, and happy birthday again, by the way. I hope you had a great time. And you were talking about if Saka was to be sold, if we were seen as a selling club, how much would he go for? So, of course, the question has come up in the last couple of days about Saka's contract. We look to be in a situation with Bukayo Saka and Martinelli where they've got a couple of years left. So we're going to have discussions in the summer, it seems, about a new deal. My first question to you, Kev, is how confident are you that Bukayo Saka is happy at Arsenal and he's going to be willing to sign a new deal, whatever the circumstances at Arsenal?
99.99%. That's how confident I am that he'll look to sign. I think he likes the manager. I think he likes what's the way he's playing. I think he likes the way the team's being built together, and he feels he's an important cog in that team. So I don't think it's going to be an issue, if I'm honest with you. It's just a matter of the numbers and the length of contract, which I'm sure that's obviously always negotiable. I truly believe he wants to be a legend at Arsenal Football Club. And obviously, what happens down the road, I'm sure we'll get onto that a little bit later. But as of right now, guys, I think Bukayo Saka is fully committed to Arsenal Football Club.
And do you think, Kev, that no matter where we finish and like it's going to get to a stage where Saka is just, no, I don't care what happens. I don't care about the kind of immediate next 2 years. I'm happy here. I want to prove myself. And do you think that he's bought into this project under Mikel Arteta?
Yeah, I do. I think he's now one of the main men, obviously being part of the England setup now as well. So I don't see it being any issue right now.
Fair play. Lee, let's come to you. Massive fan of Saka like myself. And I'm not worried because I believe that he's happy. If it got to a stage where it was a little bit like a Cesc Fabregas or Alexis Sanchez or Robin van Persie, then I might be a little bit more worried about the Cities and Liverpools and and Chelsea's coming in. But currently, I'm with Kev. I kind of am confident about him getting a new deal. What's your thoughts, mate?
Listen, when it comes to things like that, I'm not going to argue with Kevin because he knows exactly what Saka's going through, coming through the ranks and all that. And I'm a big believer of that, massive believer of that, that at this moment in time, how old is he now? 20. He has got no intentions whatsoever of leaving Arsenal. When he's 23, 24 and we're in the same boat, that's a different kettle of fish. But at this moment in time, I don't think you'll have any problems. Just as it wasn't for Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe was delighted about it. It's only like 6 months ago, was it, that Smith Rowe signed his contract? You know what I mean? And he's as not quite, I don't think, in the league of Saka, but he's up there in that sort of category. Like, you know, the three of them, I think, are in the same sort of box, if I'll be honest. But I don't think there'll be any problems with Saka signing at this moment in time. I think that he will do. All this talk about Liverpool and all that, that's becoming about because of their players, Mane and Salah are aging. So, you know, they need to replace him at some stage for that. And I'll tell you what, like Liverpool, good luck with that, because you'll be back down to where the others are when that happens. Because at the moment, that's keeping him up there, but they've got to replace them too. And that is not going to be easy, I can tell you that now. And when you look at Liverpool now, they're not quite the same without them two guys. And so, you know, I can see the comparisons of it all. Like, but for me, I don't think Saka. I think that for me, if Saka does go, it will be to all three teams now: Chelsea, Manchester City, or Newcastle. Because I tell you what that guarantees: one, the money, you guarantee to getting the wage and all that. But virtually, like, if you go to Manchester City or Chelsea, you'll know that you're going to be competing for the main trophies. If you go to Manchester United at the moment, you're not 100% sure, are you? The same with Liverpool, like, but with them two, you actually are, like, So I think at the moment it's all about still for someone like Saka. I think that just building up his career, just like, hopefully we won't be a stepping stone to bigger and better things. Hopefully Arsenal will turn it around and be that much better. But hopefully, I think Arsenal, depending what happens in the summer and everything like that, are building very good. We've got to build around these three players because I can tell that they're the most three exciting young players in the Premier League. I know there's probably other players you could go and Pepe and Haaland and people like that, but in this moment in time in the Premier League, they're the three most exciting.
Yeah, I will 100% agree with that. I think that we're very lucky to have them in the same team. And like you said, Leo, a few weeks ago, I don't know another team in Europe that has got three of the most exciting youngsters in the same team. So I totally agree with that. But Kev, I've got to ask you this because Aubameyang, Willian, Ozil, they were put on ridiculous contracts and they were stuck here. Now, I don't think it's the same with Bukayo Saka because he's in a different stage of his life. But if he is going to sign, does it matter how much he's earning a week? As long as he signs the ting, so to speak.
Well, we want him to sign the ting, that's for sure. With homegrown players, I don't think it matters as much how much they earn. The key is he's a young player and he wants to achieve. When you the issue with the Ozils of this world and the Aubameyangs of this world, they came in as superstars. They came in earning real big money anyway. So if you're going to re-sign them, then you have to pay them accordingly. Bukayo Saka's on that nice curve from schoolboy through the ranks, apprentice type thing, as they call them, scholars now, to pro, to first team player, to he's getting there being the superstar and all that kind of thing. And we want him to grow with us. We want him to be that with us. Now, whatever he's going to earn, he's going to earn. The fact of the matter is he wants to achieve. He doesn't want to go to England and see Mason Mount and Phil Foden winning all the trophies and him not win trophies. He wants to win trophies. But as far as he's concerned right now, he wants to win trophies with Arsenal. The same with Emil Smith-Rowe, the same with Gabriel Martinelli and all the younger players who are now in and around the team. So we've got that on our side right now, Dan. I think the issue then comes further down the line if we don't win or we're not competing.
And how do you think Mikel Arteta and Edu or whoever does the contract negotiations, what do they have to say to Saka to convince him not to be happy at Arsenal, but to win things at Arsenal? What does Mikel Arteta have to do to convince him that's going to happen at the Arsenal?
I think what Mikel Arteta's really got to do is explain the next phase of what Arsenal's going to look like. Because let's be honest, we're all a little bit disappointed in the January window that we didn't bring bodies in. We needed a striker, we needed a midfielder. And, we got rid of some of the so-called deadwood who were kind of squad players. Couldn't really get us over the line in the end, but there were still bodies, weren't they, where we could have maybe done something or give Nottingham Forest a harder game in the FA Cup, so to speak. But the fact of the matter is we didn't. And maybe that is going to work out even better because we've cleared the decks and now we could really make a go for it. I think explaining what the next phase is, explaining the type of player that they're going to be looking to recruit, that's going to come into the football club. And Arsenal need to really compete. That's the key. Need to be able to compete at the top end of the league, need to be able to compete for all the cup trophies. Forget about whether it's just the Carabao Cup or the FA. We've got to be, whatever team is picked, it's got to be able to stand up and be counted in that competition. So for me, I just think explain that side of it, that he gets it, and he feels, actually, I like that. And then Get that ting signed.
I love that. Signed the ting. Lee, let's come to you. What should Bukayo Saka be earning, mate? And I'm not too fussed about it personally. I've never have been. But what do you think is a deal that would be good for all parties in terms of how much he'd be on a week?
What he's worth, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I think he's probably the best player at Arsenal at this moment in time. So he's got to be on the highest wages. I don't care who's earning what and whatever. I think I remember like people like Ian Wright and that turned around and said like, whoever comes in, I'll get on at least the same wages as them. Like, you know what I mean? So that put in their contracts. And for me, Saka gets the same sort of thing. He's the best player. I don't care if he's 20 years of age, 21 years of age. He's the best player. So he becomes the best paid player. Now, I don't want to see Arsenal going down the route of £300,000, £400,000. They can't afford to do that and won't. So I think that it's important that he gets well paid. I agree with Kevin here. I'm pretty sure that say someone like the Man City boys, Foden. I bet he's not the highest paid player at Manchester City. Far from it. But
apparently he's on 130, Lee. Apparently he's on 130k. Apparently, someone in the chat saying, I think it's GB.
Oh, right. Well, there you go. So
he's not, which means he's not, but he's on quite a lot of money. But yeah,
I wouldn't mind being on that a week. By the way,
nice.
Good luck to him. What I mean? But the thing is, I think you can go all around the money side of things and all that. For these kids, I don't think that's the most important thing. I think it's about playing for Arsenal, playing for the club you play for. Now, how I see it, and people may think I'm delusional and whatever, but this is how I would think about it. I'd rather win a trophy with Arsenal or a league title with Arsenal. I'm not saying Arsenal are going to win the league title, than go into somewhere else and winning it. Like you always want to do it with your homegrown club. Now, for instance, I'm pretty sure, say, somebody like Jack Grealish would have loved to have won it at Aston Villa. You know what I mean? But obviously it was never going to happen. So he's now moved to Manchester City to try and do it. But I can tell you that now, if you sat in the England room and on a sofa with him and being like, just no one else in that room and just going, where would you rather? Would you still rather be at Aston Villa than Manchester City? I think he would be, but ultimately because he knows he wants to try and win things and that, he's gone. Harry Kane, for instance, whether you like him or loathe him or whatever, has tried to do it with Spurs. You know what I mean? He'd prefer to do it with Spurs than anybody else. But ultimately, it comes a time when his career, when he's turned around and said, you know what, I've given it my best shot with Spurs. I've now got to go somewhere else. So I think for Saka, so
with that then, Lee, because that's great. That's a great point what you're bringing up there. So with Saka, then, how does he sit there now and say, I want to stay at Arsenal and I want to do what Harry Kane and Jack Grealish couldn't do with Villa and Tottenham, and I want to do it at Arsenal. What do we have to do to make him feel that that's possible? Do we have to get experienced players in? Do we have to, obviously we need to show progress, but what needs to happen for these kids to say, I want to stay here?
I think you've got to build a dream for them like that. And what they're trying to do that at the moment is saying, look, grow with Martinelli, grow with Smith Rowe. Bring in Saliba, that's another young kid of 20, 21 years of age. Bring in a couple more, and we can go a different way to other teams again. I see that vision. I do. Whether it's going to work or not, Dan, is a completely different thing. But what they're looking to do is get in the best young players, 20, 21, 22, develop them and then push all on together. And when you have a look at that, you've got a young defence that can grow and go that sort of way. Now, it's going to be difficult with the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and God forbid it, Newcastle coming into that fray as well. So it's going to be a difficult thing. But I think that's something that you can do. And like when you say to somebody like, now I look at it with Saka, he's the main man at Arsenal. In my opinion, he's the main person. He's the one. Now, if you go to Manchester City, you're going to be one of 10. Or one of 11 of that, and that's the difference. Look at Grealish, and I'm not criticising Grealish anyway. He was the big fish in the small pond. No disrespect to Aston Villa, but you know what I mean. Now he's gone to Aston Villa, and he's one of many. Now, sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing as a player, But for me, when you're being brought up through the ranks of Arsenal to be the main man at Arsenal, you will want to at least have a go at doing it. And then, you know what? what would be the greatest thing for Saka, Smith Rowe, and Martinelli if they were to go on and win the Premier League? I personally think it's a tough ask. I'm going to say that Arsenal are going to have to invest good money. When I see 180 million, like, you know what I mean, what are they buying 2 players? You know what I mean? Because that's what 180 million is going to get you all this time. You know what I mean? You need to really be going in there big and spending. But I also think that when you're a young player, Kevin Attell, I've been there. We've all been young at one stage. You know, the being the end all at this moment in time is getting into the first team, playing games. You know what I mean? When I first got into the first team when I was playing, I don't worried about winning the league. I wasn't worried about where we'd finish and all that. Like when I've grown into the team and become, then I started to think, oh, do you know what? I want to win things now. It's more important to me. Like, but that first thing for me was, whether you think it's a little bit selfish or not, was like, I'm going to look after myself. I'm going to make sure.
Yourself.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, and that's at the stage of his career he is at this moment in time. Obviously, like, you know, he's a wonderful, wonderful player. But ultimately, also, look at Dele Alli. Look how he was when he was 20, 21, 22. Now he's got another opportunity, another club. So sometimes it doesn't guarantee you're going to, when you're the bright star as a young player, you've got to be at the right places, right time, right coach. Everything's got to be put in place for you to be successful. It can come to you too quick, or it may never come to you. So for me, I just think that, you know, if I was advising something now, people will turn around and go, oh, agents and all that. Like, if agents are in there turning around and saying, oh, you get a big move here, get a big move, that's not someone that's looking after your career. That's someone looking after their best interests. What you got to do is someone that's going to tell you, look, this is how it goes and all that. I guarantee you, if he signs this contract and it goes right for another 4 years, he signs it next year, another 4 years. After 2 years, they'll be negotiating it again. And then he's going to turn around and go, well, hold on a minute, I'm not going to sign now.
Well, he'll only be 22, Lee.
22, exactly.
And can I just say this? This is the funny thing about contracts. You could sign a 4-year, but you're negotiating after 2. So really, you know, the talks start before, as you're getting into the last part of that second year, because you don't want him getting to 16, 18 months of his contract.
Exactly.
So, you know, you want the top players, you never want them to even get there. You just keep renewing, keep revamping. And one thing I want to ask you, Dan, and you, Lee, do you think the way we performed against Manchester City might influence his thinking? Because whereas 100%. Before we got battered kind of thing, and then all of a sudden this team's been put together and went toe to toe with them. I know we end up losing, but we went toe to toe with the best team probably in Europe at the moment.
I think it showed him that the players can do it. What I think we want to see as fans and as obviously as players, we want to be doing that consistently, not just against Cities, against everybody we come up against. And at the moment, we haven't been able to do that, which I think will put doubt in some of the fans and players' minds. But you make a great point there, Kev, about the situation at 16 to 18 months. If it gets towards that with Saka, what do Arsenal need to do? Because if Saka's saying, I'm not signing still,
sell.
Do we sell him? And then what happens there then? Like, what are we looking at fee-wise? Because that's going to be a disaster, isn't it, if that happens?
Well, here's the issue, see, and this is the real issue. Lee, doesn't want Arsenal to be a selling club. We want to be a club that keeps our talent, nurtures them, and gets the best out of them throughout their career. But if Saka signed, and 2 years down the line, he said, I ain't signing it again, I want to go, then you have to cash in, or else you run the risk of him just playing out his contract. The reason for him to turn around and say, I'm not signing again, means Mikel Arteta and Edu haven't done their job in furnishing that team with enough quality, not only in the team, but in the squad, to challenge. Because you know what? No team has a divine right to win trophies. You have a right, we as Arsenal fans have a right to be able to challenge. And then it's up to the players.
Exactly what Kevin's saying there, Dan. If Arsenal 2 years down the line are still coming in 6th, 7th, or 8th, right, and Saka says he wants to leave, right, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame Martinelli if he wants to leave. You know what I mean? I wouldn't blame any of them that would want to leave at that stage because something's not right. You know what I mean? Like these, you know. Also, you have to think with these guys as well that their ceiling is very, very high. So they want to get to the ceiling of their potential as well. Now, it may be the case that Mikel Arteta or whoever who's ever manager at this moment in time is not doing that. So you've got to be very, very careful. Like, you know, for instance, and you might get rid of Arteta, the next manager comes in and he's this and this and that, and Saka might not fancy him. So you've got to be really careful with recruitment, with everything you do. You've got to make these kids feel very, very at ease at home. Kevin will tell you, like, you know, when he's had different managers that he's not liked, you know what I mean? And that's it. You know, right, I see it, I'm off. You know what I mean? Like Ian Wright had it with Bruce Wilks, so did Kevin. You know what I mean? Like, so you've got to be very, very careful who you're going to recruit. So that's where it's important when Edu comes into it, if it was. But really, at this moment in time, Arsenal and Arteta have got a duty of care to us fans and everybody at the football club to make sure that these guys are happy and they're progressing and going on the way. Now, I can tell you this now. If we have a summer transfer window like we've just had in the January one, those kids will be panicking. They will be going, oh, what's going on here? So we've got to not only make some good investments to keep the fans happy and also, but to keep our players happy as well, because they'll be looking at it and going, do you know what? It's not quite good enough at the moment. They know that. But when you're having these conversations, which goes on, you know, Kevin's an ex-professional, like professional person. When they go into talks, you know what I mean? Like they go, oh, we want you to sign, you know what I mean? But we're going to bring in so-and-so. We're going to bring in so-and-so as well. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a oh yeah, I can relate to that and all that. Like, and don't forget, when you're a player, you are looking at the other. Say if you're going to Arsenal or you're going to whatever team you're going to, you have a look at the players. And if I was coming into Arsenal now, I think, well, we've got like some really good youngsters there. I think I might be able to do a job there, like, you know. So it works both ways. So it's very, very recruitment now is not got to be underestimated now, like, you know. Now the reason, you know, like, and fantastically it didn't happen. You know, Spurs had a fantastic team a couple of years ago, right? Before it moved to Wembley, and they didn't invest in their team. They invested in everything else but the team, and that's what's happened. Like, you know, Arsenal cannot make that mistake. You know, we've made some mistakes in the past, and we've made them with Van Persie, Cesc Fabregas, and whatever. But those mistakes were made because our hands were tied through the stadium. They're now not. So we have now not got to make those mistakes. Very important.
100% it's important. And let me ask you a serious question, right? I heard Kev and Sophie talking about this, and I was actually more with Kev. Normally I'm with Sophie, but I was actually more with Kev. How much is Bukayo Saka worth, Lee? Let's start with you because I know what Kev said. How much is he worth?
Right now, I wouldn't take nothing less than 100 million.
Okay.
But
Kev?
what is he worth that on this current market? Probably not, because I'm going to say this now. You got all the Spanish boys out of the way. You know, like, so they're not really in there. 75 million, I think, like, would be it. And if Arsenal sold him for 75 million, I'd be going mad. But that's
and this is the thing. This is the thing, isn't it? Because I want 150 million. Of course we do. But is he worth that? I'm not sure that he is in the market that we look at.
I think he's fantastic. I'm going to say this now. I watch him.
I love him. Absolutely love him.
I am absolutely in awe of him. Like, you know what I mean? I think Smith Rowe's fan. My favourite player, as you know, is Martinelli. I love Martinelli. But watching Saka play, I'm in awe of the kid. I think he's the best thing I've seen for a very, very long while at Arsenal. And I mean, I've seen some fantastic young players come through at Arsenal. He's up there, and not many Arsenal players, Dan, at 20 years of age, are in an England team on a regular basis. If you go back all through the great players that we've had, not one of them has been playing. Like, I can go back. Tony Adams wasn't a regular in the England team.
Ashley Cole, Tony Adams, yeah.
Ashley Cole probably was in and around, not at 20 years
Not
of
at
age.
20, though.
Not at
Not at
20.
20.
Not at 20.
Not at 20. So I don't know anyone, you know what I mean, like that was in a regular bosh every single game. You know what I mean?
And Lee, he's got, look at the competition he's got for those positions as well.
Exactly.
You know?
I'll tell you what, England were, you know, have got some. Look, he's in a side also that's gone deep in the World Cup semi-finals 2 years ago. I know he wasn't in that, but that was the England side, and it's got to the Euros. I'm going back in the 90s. We weren't in '94. We didn't even qualify for the World Cup, and we had great. Maybe it's you know, down to the managers. We had class players: Mickey Thomas, David Rocastle. Never at that age were regular. I'm talking regular England players. Jack Wilshere was, but injuries faded him. Like, do you know what I mean? But I don't think of anybody else. That's how talented he is.
I'm with you. Kev, Jack Grealish went for 100 million, but let's have it right. He was on top fire. He was getting the most fouls against him. He was getting goals and assists. So I understood why he was going to be a lot of money. And of course, he had that release clause in his contract, which City just thought, we've got the money, let's just do it. But looking at that, if Saka was to leave, what's he worth at the moment?
I think I said it on the hybrid squad. He's between 75, 85 million, you know, pushing 90 million. You obviously want as much as you can. If you could get 100, 110, you snap their hand off. But realistically, we know his talent level. We know how good a player he is and how devastating he can be. But the difference with the Jack Grealish move was Jack Grealish carried Aston Villa for a number of years and was scoring goals and was getting assists consistently and on a regular basis. I think if Bukayo Saka starts hitting double-figure goals a season, if he gets 10 and 5, 10 goals, 5 assists, or 10 and 10, then you're talking about 100 million. Easy, plus. Because it's all about the numbers for these guys. You have to look at the numbers. And
of course it is.
He's so young and he's a British player. He's English.
It's the potential and him being English. Exactly.
So 10 and 10 should be his remit. 10 goals minimum, 10 assists a season. He does that. We have got an absolute steal. He's 100 million plus.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let's move on from Saka because I do want to talk about another couple of players that I'm going to be interested in seeing this season. One of them is linked with a new contract, and that's Martinelli. But the other guy I want to bring into the mix is Pepe. The reason I want to bring Martinelli and Pepe into the mix is because for the rest of this season, we may not have Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah available, and some would not say they were good enough to play. So there's options for Arteta with both Pepe and Martinelli. There's rumours from what I'm hearing from Arsenal friends that are saying they've been watching the training clips in Dubai and they're seeing a lot of Martinelli and Pepe through the centre. Lee, I'll come to you. Two players, one you love, we have a little bit of debate and argument about because I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. I don't think you hate Pepe, but he's not your favourite player. But through the centre, would you try either of those two?
I've always said it. I've always said to play Pepe. I've always said about Pepe. This is what I've said about Pepe, and you can go back when I've said it a year ago and whatever. When you spend all that money, this is why I say Mikel doesn't rate him or hasn't that. When you spend all that money on a player, if he's not doing it in the business on the right, you try and find somewhere to get him in the team. And for whatever reason, Arteta's not done that. I've been saying it. Kev doesn't agree with me. He thinks he's not strong enough at times. Was to play him down the middle as the false nine or whatever in that role. I think that Pepe is one of the better finishers we've got at the club. When he goes one-on-one, I feel a lot more confident than when other players are running with the ball. I'll be honest. I've always said that. But we are not getting the best out of this this player by a long chalk. Now, when people keep going to me, right, play Pepe. So I say, right, okay, great, we're playing. Where do you want to play him? Play him on the right. So I go, all right, okay, play him on the right. So where's Saka playing? Well, we're playing him on the left then. All right, so all right then, we're playing him on the left. Where's Martinelli playing? Oh, all right then, we put Martinelli down the middle and we'll play Saka on the left. So I then go, right, well, what about Smith Rowe? He's got to come into the team. So he's got to find a place for him somewhere in the line. For me personally, I'm gonna for the game against Wolves. I don't want to see Lacazette no more. I don't want to see Eddie no more. I really don't want to see them no more because you know what? In my eyes, they've failed. They failed. They had their chances. They've failed. Everton, Nottingham Forest for Eddie, failed. Lacazette, when we wanted him to score an open goal against Burnley, failed. And I don't care now when people say, oh, you put up ruthlessness. We've got to be a little bit more ruthless, right? So now I want to see Martinelli going up top. He goes down up at the front, brings in Smith Rowe, and we've got Saka on there. And then Pepe can play in any of those positions when he comes off the bench. And then when he does come off the bench and he does the business, then he's got to force his way into the team. And that's how you do it. That is how you do it. And it can happen. Sometimes in football, you can be forced into doing something and you become a genius. Or a lucky thing and it happens. You think like, listen, Kevin was pushed out to a wide position, probably played some of his best stuff out there, like, do you know what I mean? But I don't know if that was a genius or it was a bit of luck. Who knows?
Hey, according to who? According to who? Played some of my best stuff out there. I thought with Ian Wright was the best partnership.
Yes, but like,
talk to me about playing wide. God,
you won a cup winners medal playing out there, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so what I'm saying,
100%,
pushed out there, and probably people are like scratching their head, what are you doing, putting him out there? But it worked. That's what I'm saying, like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it could be that Pepe goes up there, he's forced into that role.
Back out of that, Kevin.
Yeah, of course I am.
Got a ladder.
Yeah. And it goes. But listen, that's how it can work. You know what I mean? No one. I don't care what anybody says about partnerships and all that. George Graham was a fantastic manager, right? Kevin too, because he told me this. Like, he didn't think that them two would be out of play together, and he's a genius.
He said me and Wrighty can't play together.
Yeah, but they did. In the end, was it forced on George Graham? Maybe it was, and then so that's what I'm saying. You need that little bit of something just clicks. Something's got to click for Pepe, because if it doesn't click for Pepe, then as much as I know you like him and you know what I mean, you want to take him to bed or whatever, I don't know. But
whoa, hang on.
What I'm saying is,
what's all this?
What I'm saying is, right, he has got to click now. He cannot keep going, right, another season, because his contract's running down and down. It's now, and if I was the owner, I'm saying, look, I've spent £74 million on this man, make it work.
Lee, here's a question, Dan. Here's a question.
Go on.
Is it harder to play wide or is it harder to play striker?
I think it's harder to play striker.
Of course it is.
Yeah, so I definitely think it is. Yeah.
My position is this. Pepe has got unbelievable talent. We all know that. And he sometimes can't get it right playing wide. So what makes you think he's going to get it right playing in the traffic of centre forward, where the two big centre halves are just going to go, let's pay him?
Because
Because the best work that we see from Pepe is when he's in and around the box, Kev. When he's coming on that right-hand side, he's got two or three players on him.
He's coming off the right. He's not as a striker. He's coming in off the right. No, but what I'm saying is, I understand and I agree. Pepe can be devastating, but he does that, his best work, coming in from the right. What makes you think with his back to goal, all of a sudden it's going to click? I don't get that.
Do you know the two best games I saw Pepe play, right? The two best games I've seen Pepe play, funny enough, he didn't score in either of them, right? So you'll probably laugh and go, oh, it didn't work for him then. I thought he was exceptional against Liverpool, Anfield away, when we had Emery and we went with that diamond and he had himself and Aubameyang up front. He's still the only player to dribble past Van Dijk. And in the FA Cup final against Chelsea, I thought he was outstanding through the middle. So I think he can do it. We might not see 25 goals, but I tell you what we will see. He scores more goals than Saka and Smith Rowe does when he plays. He only done it this year because he's been out of favour. His stats are the best. He was 16 goals last season, top scorer. And I remember me and Lee sitting on a podcast doing predictions at the start. We both picked him for top scorer this year ahead of Aubameyang because he just come off the back of scoring 16 goals. So he knows where the net is. He can finish. I would just like to see it there. If it doesn't work after a few games, we can change it up and bring Lacazette back in if we feel he's a better link-up man. If Martinelli can come into the mix through the centre, like a lot of people are saying he's been training in, I think give him a go there. But I would just like to see something change if Lacazette isn't working up top.
Listen, let's get into this argument because it is a good one, like, and I'm going to argue with Campbell here, like, you know what I mean? I'm going to have
Come on, then, judges. Come on.
Right. Lacazette ain't really a powerful sort of a player up there, is he? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But what he does is he drops off, and it allows the two wide players to go into those sort of areas, like, you know. Now, what I'm saying is Pepe can pick the ball up and do that a little bit more, and maybe then once he's picked the ball up, dropped it off, he has got the power or the pace to get into the box. Because what I see with our team now is Lacazette hold-up play is very, very good, Kev. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean by this.
Yeah.
Holds the ball up really well. He knocks it off, and then he's never in the bloody box because he hasn't got that power to get in there. Now, that's what I'm saying with Pepe. And once he's laid it off, can he make that 20-yard burst and get into the goal?
Okay, Mr. Judges.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, over to you.
Here is the key then. Lacazette is a striker, very good at holding the ball up. The ball's got to stick and it's got to go back. How convinced are you that the ball's going to stick with Pepe under duress from the centre halves?
Because what I see of him, I think he's a very, very skillful player.
Yeah, we're not debating his skill. What I'm debating is his hold-up play, because at times he loses it when he's one-on-one with a fullback, let alone a big centre half. Listen, I'm only saying what I see.
Yeah, and I get that. And listen, and this is where I think we've got to give Pepe a chance, because you're dead right what you're saying. People underestimate how hard that is to control the ball, right? When you've got a centre half bearing down you and you're back towards goal, it's the hardest thing to do apart from score goals. That's why forwards get the big money, like, you know what I mean? Like, because that it's a given. Like, you've played in it. If I was a midfield player and I pinged it into you and it was keep pinging off you, I'll be going, "Oi, Campbell, get hold of that, make that stick."
You won't just say that. You'd be saying it'd be got you turning the air blue, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's expectation. That is part of your job.
Expectation is the word. Yeah.
Lacazette does that very, very well. But also part of your game, Kev, is to score goals. So it's no good holding the ball up and then you're not scoring goals. You know what I mean? And that's where Lacazette falls down. So what I'm saying there, try somebody different. That's my thing. I'm going to say it about Eddie. I just don't think, you know what I mean, he's strong enough or hasn't got that guile to hold the ball up and all that. He's more of a striker, if I'll be honest, off of a bigger fella, if I'll be honest. But those days are gone now, Kev. You know what I mean? You've got to be up there dropping in.
Isn't that Pepe? Pepe isn't a number 9.
No, but I think he's changed the game now. It's not like we're playing with this sort of. I don't really like it. Give me a Calvin Lewin or a Kevin Campbell up there. You know what I mean? In my opinion,
occupy the centre halves.
Yeah, that's what I prefer to have. But it seems that
of course we all want that. We all want that. But at the moment, we haven't got that. So we're just talking about this season. We can't buy a striker in now. I disagree slightly with both of you in the fact that Pepe can't hold the ball up, because I see him hold the ball. I don't think that's his downfall. I don't think that's.
I never said he can't, Dan. All I said was, Dan, I see him lose the ball wide with a fullback. So for me, if he's losing it against a fullback wide, what makes Lee think, was the question, what makes you think he's going to be able to hold the ball up when he's got 2 centre halves on him? Because there's a lot more traffic in that centre than there is wide. A lot more.
So let me ask you this thing, Casey. Lacazette gets an injury and Eddie's got COVID. Let's just say that's the scenario. Who are you starting up top, Martinelli or Pepe?
I probably Martinelli.
Okay.
Probably Martinelli. And I still think Martinelli's got a lot to learn playing number 9.
Can I just say something?
Go on.
Point. I think if you're playing Martinelli up front, you're playing a different
game style. Yeah.
Style.
Yeah.
Playing Pepe, can we get, you know what I mean? Because I don't think like Martinelli's game is I don't know. I'm not too sure about his hold up
play. Yeah, agreed.
But what I'm saying is he's got the more dimension stretch teams a little bit more, play like over the top. I don't know if that's Mikel's way of playing, Kev. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest.
Yeah, but Lee, people talk about playing over the top. you've got to move people around to be able to play over
Yeah,
the top.
I agree.
As you know, you can't just say, right, we've got Martinelli and we're going to knock balls in behind him.
No,
That
totally
is
agree.
not going to work. So again, it's how you construct your team. If you're going to play a number 9, how are you going to get? If you play Pepe as a number 9, he's going to have to come short. Then you've got the same problem, Lee. No matter how quick Pepe is, if he gets it and lays it off and the ball goes forward to Saka, he ain't getting in the box.
No, and this is the key. This is the key thing for me as well. Like, you know what I mean? What you say? If I'm a midfield player, I'll play. Even when I play vets football, we have certain forwards up front that I know that when I put it into them, they're going to hold it. So then I can make my run. Do you know what I mean? It comes natural. So if you've got the ball, you knock it and you make your run because you know he's going to hold it up and go. Then there's certain players that are more off the back. When you put it into them, you hold your run.
Yeah.
So you've got to, and that's where Lacazette comes in very well. We can ping it into him, and you know that the runners can run. And you've got to get that. I don't know if Martinelli can do that at this moment in time. That's my big worry about that. But I'm still saying chuck Martinelli up there because
if I'm playing Martinelli, Lee, if I'm going to play Martinelli, then you need that number 10 to do the hold-up work. Because once the number 10 gets hold of the ball, because you want Martinelli on the shoulder, and then you've got to slide balls in between.
So this is where Odegaard's going to come more important.
This is where Odegaard or Smith Rowe or somebody, this is where we need... And that's the changing of the system. That's the changing of the team kind of thing. Whereas Lacazette obviously hasn't got legs, but he comes and links up. That's why Martinelli is getting a lot of joy because he's running in off the left and he's already on the run and we could slide balls through to him and he's been devastating like that. Saka the same. We could slide him in and he could do his stuff. So we may have to tweak what we do, but if we're going to play Martinelli, which is my preferred if we're ever going to do that, then you definitely need Odegaard or Smith Rowe to be able to feed him, or else he's going to be struggling.
Do you think, Kev, we might see a few months ago it was now, we saw at Leicester away, we saw at Villa at home, we saw Lacazette and Aubameyang. Do you think there's an opportunity in some games, depending on opposition, that Arteta might look to go with Lacazette and Martinelli or Lacazette and Pepe?
Yeah, and like a two up top.
Yeah, like a 4-4-2-ish.
Or 4-4-1-1. You know, you can play like that. I think you're right, Dan. I think it is definitely
the option's
something,
there, isn't it?
Yeah, the option's there. We are flexible enough that we've played and we've won playing that system. So, and remember, the man at the top of the tree was Aubameyang, an out of form Aubameyang. Obviously, we got Martinelli, who's got the energy and he's hungry. He's got an eye for goal. So, you know, it might work out even better for us. We just don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Breaking news, Senegal have won the African Cup of Nations and Mane has scored the winning penalty. Yep. Mane versus Salah.
And he missed the penalty in the game in normal time.
Mane? Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow, I didn't see it. I was busy.
Yeah, missed the penalty in normal time.
Oh, well, he's made up for it now. There we go. Congratulations to Senegal. Mane and Salah will head back now to Liverpool, and let's see if that changes how they're playing, because they haven't really missed them as much as I thought they would, Liverpool. They've managed to get to a cup final. Yeah, I bet they are. I wonder how close they are after that. No, I'm sure they are still. Guys, I want to talk about one more topic before we start to come to a close, and I think it's one that we've kind of talked about before, but I really want to get both your opinions on this one. I have strong opinions on it. I think both of you will. It's definitely a player that we want to see, but my question is, will we see him? William Saliba. Now, I'm not so sure Matteo Guendouzi has got a future at Arsenal, but from what the rumours are, William Saliba probably has got a future at Arsenal. Mikel Arteta apparently likes him, and I think they're trying to look at a new contract because, believe it or not, he signed with us and he still hasn't really kicked a ball. And that was 3 years ago. So his contract is coming up. So he's going to need to sign a new contract if he wants a future at Arsenal. So my first question, I'll start with you, Lee. What do you see happening with William Saliba? Is he going to come into the mix next season and be a competition for Ben White on that right centre-back position? Or do you think that we're going to look to get some money and he's going to leave Arsenal?
No, I think. Do you know what I'm going to say? Is that I've never been one to worry about this. I feel that it's been a good thing to get him out on loan, get him having games, 20 years of age, learn his trade instead of being on the bench for us week in, week out. Get in there. I honestly think next season, I don't know what Arab. I think we'll go for a back three next season. I think it'll be Saliba, White, and Gabriel. That means then we've got more options going forward. And that's how I think they play. Three magnificently solid players at the back. Ben White can be that one in the middle that can just neat things up a little bit. I think that's the way that they go. For me, Saliba, I think that if that is the case, and they've said to him, look, you have a couple of years playing in France. He now comes to Arsenal with 2 years' experience of playing first team football. When he came to us 2 years ago, he had hardly any experience. You know what I mean? He would have had to have gone in the back, might have not been great for it. I've seen us make mistakes with Chambers holding in the past, Get him out on loan, get him some game time. Now he comes back ready for the first team. And I think at the end of the day, it'd be smart business if that's what they've done. If they let him go, scandalous. But I don't think they will. I feel pretty confident that he's been told, look, you get yourself on loan, couple of seasons, learn the trade, get match minutes in your legs so you're ready and waiting to come into the team. And I think he'll be a stonewall starter. If he's playing as well, I've not seen him play, I've seen him play once or twice in games, and I've been very, very impressed with him. But he's been playing every time I've watched him, to be honest, I've seen him in the back three. He's looked very, very good. So for me, I don't see it being a problem. I really don't. Sometimes I get why people want to bash Mikel Arteta. I've had my run-ins with him as well, if you like that. But sometimes I think we just want to bash him for everything. I don't think this is one that we can bash on him quite yet.
Fair play. Kev, before I come to you, I just want to mention my kind of how the way I see it on this, because from what I see of the kid, he looks exceptional in games, right? Ben White looks exceptional in some games, but I've not seen consistency. This kid in France, and I know it's a different league and people will start shooting me down when I say this. I don't care what league he's playing in. He's playing bloody well, right? He's in the team of the year. He got player of the month, most months that he was at Nice. He was one of the best young players at Saint Etienne, and now he's one of the best players in Marseille. Why do you think we haven't taken a chance on him yet? And do you think he's got a future at Arsenal?
Because just like Lee said, it's about, don't forget, he's still he's such a young man.
Yeah.
He's such a young man. And when we brought in certain players were being brought into play now. You can't play everybody. Keeping him on the bench is actually hindering his development. It really is. So I always say this: go out, get games, learn your trade. He's gone out. He's learned his trade at Nice. He's done fantastic at Nice. He's come back. They've had a look at him, maybe not quite ready. So what have they done? It's worked out that they can get him to Marseille. Big club, playing in Europe. He can get loads of minutes under his belt. And then after that, if he does really well, like he has been doing, remember, he's still an Arsenal player. There's still an Arsenal player. I think Sophie put down there that the power's with the player now. He's an Arsenal player. So it doesn't matter who the power's with. He is contracted to Arsenal. So when he comes back, like he has to, because the obligation is with Arsenal, he gets his chance next season. It was always going to be this season at Marseille, and then he gets his chance. I think I've said it before on the Ivory Squad, Dan. Give him a new contract. Because he's when we signed him, he was probably on okay money. But now, listen, you are going to be in our first team. So you get a contract that reflects that. So there you go. You're going to be in the first team. You're going to get game time and X, Y, Z. And then I'm sure as a player, he's come to the Arsenal because he wants to do it. I'm sure he'll be happy.
Well, when he was at St Etienne, Wesley Fofana was his partner, and he's done brilliantly at Leicester. Unfortunately, he had a really bad injury, which has kept him out for most of the season. But he was on absolute fire and being linked with everybody. And Saliba was an upgrade on Fofana. He was the one everybody was talking about. Fofana was just the partner of Saliba. He wasn't the other class centre back. So there's definitely talent there. I hope we do see him in an Arsenal shirt. I was disappointed, and I still am, that we haven't seen it thus far. Having said that, if he was going to sit on the bench, I'd rather him be playing football. So I'm totally with you there. What I didn't like was last season where we were seeing Holding and David Luiz and Socrates and players like that of the past 2-3 years coming in over him when this kid's got talent. That's what I didn't like seeing. This season, you can say with Ben White and Gabriel that we've got two options there that have seemed to form a partnership at least. So it hasn't really been noticeable that Saliba's not been there. Of course, when Holding comes in, personally, I'd rather have Saliba, but I think we'll see that next season. I'm confident that we'll see him in an Arsenal shirt. My only query, and I'll put this to you, Lee, is Real Madrid want him. Is that tempting for William Saliba?
Yeah, I think that maybe it is. Of course, you know what I mean. Why wouldn't it be? But at this moment in time, why would you want to go to Real Madrid? Odegaard went there when he was young. Look what's happened to him. You know, you've got to be some sort of player to go over to Real Madrid and as a young 20-year-old, 21-year-old and make the grade. So for me, I think at the end of the day, look, I'll be astounded if this has not been pre-planned and everything like that. They've spoken to him and everything like that and said, look, this is what's... When he come over, they said, this is the thing for you. COVID things didn't help, and like going, certain things like that didn't help, and a couple of things that went that way. So I just think from that point of view, listen, it's a little bit like our season at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen. Like, you know, if it was to be that he does go to Real Madrid or he leaves Arsenal at the end of the season, it's someone's got a lot of explaining to do. But ultimately, I'd rather him be out playing for Marseille week in, week out than being like Holding, especially with no Europe and not a lot of game time this season, being a backup central defender. Don't forget, there weren't a lot of games this season. I don't know. Say if we was in the Europa League, we might have actually said, oh no, we're going to keep him because he's going to play lots of Europa League games. I didn't know why last season we didn't keep him in the Europa. We didn't put him in the Europa League squad deal or something like that. That was a mistake. You know what I mean? Like, so mistakes had been made, but ultimately we got him out on loan last season for half a season, and this season he's got the full season. So for me, listen, if he comes back, I think, say if he comes back and he plays really well, we can turn around and say what a fantastic job he's doing. But
this comment from Newman does make me laugh. Come to Real Madrid or sit on the bench behind Ben Shite. What an opportunity what an option that is for him.
I don't think, but I don't think he's going to sit on the bench next season. That's my point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he will. I think that he's.
So if he doesn't sit on the bench and he plays in a back three, right? Let's say he plays in a back three. One of our attacking options is going. So who is that going to be? Like, this is the problem. I love the fact we've got a big squad, and I love the fact that we can put on 3 or 4 different subs and look quite strong, and it's great. But when I look at if we're going to be playing a back three and Saka and Partey, that means we've only got 3 players left to play up top, which will be a centre forward we buy, and then it's either Saka or Martinelli, or Saka and Smith Rowe, or Ødegaard and Saka, or Smith Rowe and Ødegaard, or there's a lot of. What I'm saying is we're getting rid of an extra attacking player that we want to see.
Yeah, you can do, but like, you know, I think it's horses for courses on that sort of thing. Like, you know, I think that there'd be times when you can go like 3 at the back and be defensive, but you can also go 3 at the back and have 2 up top. You know what I mean? Like, you can even have 3. You can play 3-4-3. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain things you can do 3-4-3, whatever. There's a little bit of flexibility. I don't think you've got that with Holding at me. I certainly wouldn't want to put Holding. I think if you went for a back 3 at this moment in time with Holding in there, I don't think it's going to make it stronger. But you put it in there with Saliba, I think, oh, hold on a minute, that's a strong back 3, and then you can just push things into an attacking point. Listen, I haven't seen enough of Saliba to turn around and go, yeah, he's a real deal. And when people say about Ben Shite, I weren't saying that when he played at Liverpool last week. Everybody's giving him the credit and all that, like, you know. I think with Ben White, the jury's still out on him. Like, but again,
100%. Yeah, I think Ben Shite's a little bit harsh, but yeah, jury's
yeah,
out for me.
When you
He
go on
came
about
back.
Ben White at this moment in time, people are more to criticise Ben White. Why? Because we spent 50 million on him. We know he weren't worth 50 million. Can we get that into our heads? He wasn't worth 50 million. The reason it is 50 million is we bought him from an English club in Brighton. He's a young English player. That is the reason. He's probably worth 35 at the top. You know what I mean? So we've paid over the top for him, like, you know what I mean? And this is where the pressure comes on Pepe a little bit, because really we know that he's not worth 75 million. So when people go on, you know, like, don't forget with Saliba, we spent 24 million pounds on him.
27, I think, or something like that, yeah.
Which is a lot of money for a youngster.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you know, like, I do feel it when people give Ben a little bit more, what should I say, Benjamin, a little bit more criticism than what he deserves. You know what I mean? I've seen him play very, very well for Arsenal. I've seen a few dodgy times, I admit that. But, you know, but ultimately, he's done okay. He's done okay.
Lee, I'll tell you this much. Since he's come in, we have improved.
Yeah. The defence is improved.
Defensively, we have improved. We know there's going to be games where we haven't done well and all that. I get that. But it's his first season. We have improved. He's got a new player at right back. He's got a new player at left back. And he's got a new player beside him at centre half. And we're improving. So let's give it a little bit of time. Listen, I seriously think Saliba coming in gives us so much more, solely because Tommy Arsenal don't have to worry too much about defending. Because Saliba's got the pace to cover all that side. Just like Gabriel's got the pace to cover the left-hand side, and Ben White's got the pace to cover in the middle. That gives us so much more aggression to go and hunt teams if we need to. So I think it could be an exciting year next season. Obviously, we need to see what Edu and Arteta do in the transfer window. But if you're bringing them three back as a back three, I think we could be real solid.
Yeah, and I must say, from what I've seen, and it is little, but from what I've seen and heard, it's looking like we really need to keep hold of him and at least see him in an Arsenal shirt and make that judgment for ourselves in the Premier League, because he's got the right attributes. He's got the stature. He's a powerhouse. He's very good defensively, good in the air, comfortable on the ball, good at going in one-on-one, really good stats in France as well. And everyone says, because Guendouzi's got good stats in France, and everyone says, oh, you know, it's only France. It's only got PSG. I don't care what league they're in. If they're performing and they're on form, I'd like to see him in an Arsenal shirt. There's a transfer embargo at Marseille, so they can't sign him even if they want to. There's a difference with Guendouzi because there was an obligation to buy agreed before the transfer embargo went ahead. So therefore they can sign Guendouzi for 8 million, which I think is an absolute steal, if I'm honest. I just think that's madness. And it looks like that's going to happen because they're going to need players. He's the only one they can actually sign. A little bit like Pulisic did with Chelsea the year that they had the transfer embargo. It was already agreed. So it looks like Guendouzi's not going to play for Arsenal again, which I think is a shame, personally. But William Saliba, I think, needs to come back and prove his worth for Arsenal. Last question I'm going to ask you guys before we do wrap up. It looks as though we are going to go into a 5-game period when everybody is saying the fixtures have been kind to us. Now, I don't buy any of that because I personally feel that every Premier League game is hard. However, I get why people are saying it, because on paper, and I know that doesn't mean anything, Arsenal have a stronger chance of winning because of the side that we have, if our first 11 stays fit, that is, against the likes of Watford, even Wolves, Brentford, etc., Leicester. I think we've got Wolves again, haven't we? What do we make of that, guys? Let me ask you. Kev, I'll come to you first. These next 5 fixtures, I know we need to stay fit. I know we need to perform in each one. What's your take on fixtures have been kind to Arsenal in the next 5?
Listen, everyone's got to play everyone anyway, haven't they? But it's just the way things have worked out. We've had games cancelled and stuff like that because of the beer flu, whatever. So, yeah, on paper, you look at this and you think to yourself, these are all winnable games for Arsenal. And if we're looking to push for that top 4, we've got to win them. You know, you take it one game at a time, of course you do, and you never go too far above your station, because we know what can happen at Arsenal. We can shoot ourselves in the foot at times. But if you said to us, if you gave us these 5 games at the start of the season, said you'd have a real good chance of getting top 4, and these are your next 5 games, you'd take them. You'd definitely take them. Obviously, got to perform, but on the hybrid squad, we've done the next 5 games, and I said 15 points. So listen, that's what we need.
Optimistic. That is what we need.
Yeah, listen, that's what we need, Dan. Whether we get that or not, I said minimum is 11, but if we could take 15 points, just win the 5 games, I know it's a hard task, but I'm greedy. I want Arsenal to do, always want Arsenal to win.
Of course. Lee?
Got 15 points. Got to have it. Like, you know what I mean? I think what a lot of people here, like Russ has obviously been on the old punk or something, like 5 points. You know what I mean? Like, unbelievable.
Russ.
Talking about Russ, he sent me that message that I'll see the show, but he sent me that message of the song Happy
Of him
Birthday.
singing. Oh,
Well, he'd had 6 punks then as well, like, I reckon. Like, but anyway, listen, I think people have got to remember I was excited after the game against Manchester City, not because we we lost the game. It was the way we played and how we went about it. Since that game, we haven't had that same team out because of all different reasons. It's back now. That team that's played against Man City will probably play. Now, don't forget, in December, 21 goals we scored in December. You know what I mean? I know we only scored 1, but the team changed, you know what I mean, unbelievably. It was a nightmare. We've got that team back. And if that team stays fit and plays like that, then I expect 15 points. And if we don't get 15 points and we only end up getting 10 and 11, as Kevin said, that's not going to be enough to get us into the top 4 come the end of the season. Because while this is all going on, Spurs have got Manchester City, I think, coming up in a couple of weeks' time, got a couple of difficult away games. We have got to get in front of these teams. Tottenham will go above us on Wednesday night because of their game against Southampton. They beat Southampton at home. And then we've got to go to Wolves, which, by the way, is the toughest game.
I agree. That's very tough.
It's going to be a very, very tough game. We've got to defend well. And if we can get a result there, I think if we win that game, I will be saying you 100% we should be getting 15 points. But if we don't, all right, we drop 2, so it's 13. I expect an unbeaten run. Now, if you look at teams and I've had arguments on bloody Twitter about this, those teams, if you think about it, you've got Wolves twice, you've got Watford, Brentford, and Leicester. Leicester have just been smashed by. They're not the team they was last season. I tell you that. I didn't really want to mention Nottingham Forest, but I will. You know what I mean, anyway, the cup holders are out. You know what I mean. The record holders.
They were class today. It has to be said. Forest were class
today. Those 5 games. If you're going for a top 4, right, you'd expect to win those games. If Tottenham have those 5 games, I'm looking 100%. At them. Tottenham are going to win all those 5 games. And do you know what? When Tottenham get those sort of results, everybody goes, oh, yeah, but they're expected to win those games. Wait till they play Chelsea and wait till they play... Yes, they've played Chelsea and lost, but before that, they've won game. We have got to get those results. Now, if we don't, we ain't getting top 5. It's just top 4. It's as simple as that, Dan. We are not getting top 4. If we get 15 points from these next 5 games, it doesn't, by the way, guarantee we're still going to get top 4, but it gives us a chance. Mm-hmm. We just dropped 2 points against Burnley at home, so we've got to make up some points somewhere along the line. 15 points or no. And at the end of it, it's going to be a real tough time. But I look at it now, Dan. We've got 17 games left. We've got to win 10 of them.
I agree.
Minimum 10 games. We got to get 30 points from those, and then try and get a few little ones in between, or draw a couple of draws and all that. We've still got some difficult games to go. We've still got Chelsea away. We've got to go to Tottenham away. We've got to go to difficult places to go. Manchester United at home, Liverpool at home. We've got, that's 4 games that you could potentially drop points with. You know what I mean? So we need to get some points on the table quickly. Now, the other thing about these games, what a lot of people don't realise, is we got a game, then we got a break, then we got a game, then we got a break, we got a break, then we got a game. Excuses. There's no excuses. You know what I mean? These players are not going to be jaded. We've still got 3 weekends off at this moment in time still to come. You know what I mean? So for Arsenal now at this moment in time, we can play the game on Thursday and we can recover. We haven't got a game at the weekend, and then we go again the following Saturday. Like, you know what I mean? So we've got after it's got another 10-day break, 10-day break. You know what I mean? So we've really got to be up and at it, like, you know what I mean? And I'm sorry, if we're going to get top 4, we have got to, you know, go on the expectations. Kevin's right. One game at a time. It's not going to be easy. But I'm looking at, first of all, just focusing on Wolves. Let's get the result against Wolves. We've got to take it game by game. But I'm honestly expecting 15 points. Do I think we'll get it? No, and that's because we won't get top 4.
I agree with you, man. And, you know, listen, you said Russ was on the old punk. I think Mr. Waffle's been on it as well because he thinks Eddie's going to score 15 goals by the end of the season. Unbelievable.
Well, if he does, then you know what I mean? Like Arsenal, if someone like that does it 15 goals, then
that's what we need. That's what we need. Listen, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Casey's in and out. His Wi-Fi's letting him down.
My router's been out on the razzle, mate. So.
He's a bit like Eddie, in and out, like, you know what I mean?
Been out in the razzle, mate. My router.
Guys, thank you so much. KC, thank you so much also for joining, man.
No
Much appreciated as always. And also, of course, yourself, Lee Judges. Thank you to everyone in the chat. There was 900 of you live watching at one stage. Please smash the like button if you can. Lee Judges will be very, very happy, as will I, as will Kev. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, then where the hell have you been? We've been going for a good 6 months to 8 months now. So smash the like and subscribe button for us. And we will be back to do a preview for Wolves game. I'm not quite sure when. It's on the Thursday night. So before then, we will bring you a preview show. Until then, up the Arsenal. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you next time.